So you're talking today about something that we don't do here. And so I've studied it. I could talk about it, but I haven't done it. And that is customer referrals.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking in prep for this podcast. Nielsen says that a person is 4 times more apt to buy your product or whatever it might be, your service, your advertising, whatever, if they've been referred by a friend. What? I mean, how do you get to that point? I mean, what's the 5-part strategy?
Oh goodness, we can go for hours on this, but think of it in terms of this: you trust people you know, you don't trust people that you don't know. So, getting this out there and asking for referrals and developing strategy, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is probably one of the most important things that you should do. You say that you don't do it, right, in your business, and I hear a lot of people say that they don't do it, and it's like literally talking to your family and saying, hey, by the way, don't tell anybody about what we're doing. That's really what it comes down to, right? So your friends and your family are your best referrers, and it's just, essentially you're saying, hey, wife, kids, best friend, don't tell anybody that we're doing these wonderful things over here. I'm just going to continue to spend money out there on advertising.
Well, you know what the irony is of this? Is that we have roughly 100 businesses and institutions associated with us. Every last one of them came to us by word of mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100% referral rate, and we don't do anything to encourage that. So I'm going to plead the fifth on this one, because if you have a business and you're like, God, I feel bad, I don't do any of this, and then I'm like, don't worry about it. Matt Hansen's been on me forever on this. But, there's a mindset here that you have to get into. And I just haven't. Honestly, I'm like all these other business owners and marketing departments. I don't have enough time to really look at it. But if you do have the moments to focus on the mindset, what's the first step?
First step is just realizing that you have to develop a plan, right? That it doesn't just happen. You don't just wake up one day and all of a sudden your customers are out there on the side of the road with signs basically telling everyone to come to your store, your company, whatever it may be. So really the fundamental way to start this is to go, we need to build a plan. And with that plan, you have to have a series of steps, and we're going to kind of go through that. But the number one thing that you have to start to understand is understand the customer journey. We talk a lot about the funnel in here. I mentioned the funnel yesterday in the presentation I was giving. But we go from awareness to consideration to customer. But there's also a customer journey that we have to understand that they deal with this. So if you are a service business and people make a phone call to you, the question is, what's the first thing they do? Well, they have a problem. They go online, they do a search. They probably head over to Google and do a quick search for help my AC is out, help my plumbing is, coming up through the sink. All of these different things that they do. So that's the first step that they take. Or maybe if they're like my friends, they send me a text and say, who's the vendor that you have for a plumber, electrician, HVAC, etc.
You want his cell phone is on his email tag. So I could give it out right now if you need a plumber or something. That's my point.
Yeah, I don't want to spend the afternoon doing that today, but
okay,
I appreciate it. But the first thing that people do is they start to reach out and go, okay, well, where can I find its problem? Where can I find the solution? And whether it is contacting me, contacting friends and family, contacting Google and asking what it is, there's a journey that they go through. And as somebody, let's say somebody calls me or sends me a text message and says, I need a plumber, I'll send them a number, and then it goes to that individual person. Maybe it's a 800 number that they have. Maybe it's their personal cell phone, whatever. If you go to Google, many times you'll end up on the Google business profile page. You'll see them there. Maybe a website will pop up, and then people come over to your website. So, for example, I was looking up something this morning. I Googled it, jumped on their website. It had somewhat of a video snippet to kind of show what they were doing, but I didn't really get all of the information from it, and I really wanted more information. So instead of contacting the company, I immediately jumped over to YouTube to see if there were any videos that explained it better. This is the mindset that we have to understand. So, we're going through all of this, and then we buy. And then as we buy, what happens from there, right? Is it a buy it and you're done? I heard somebody talking yesterday about a mattress store. People buy mattresses every 5 years or 10 years or, who knows, maybe 30 years. I don't know. But it's not a business that you buy from consistently. So you go from search, you go to consideration, you go to customer, but then once you get customer, where do you go from there? Are you sending out messaging to them? Are they getting a thank you order? As I walked in here today, I got a notification that my order had just shipped for something that I had purchased a couple weeks ago. I went to the website. Are they starting to send me the right communication? So there's this whole customer journey that people go through from I don't know who you are to I bought from you to I bought from you 2 months ago and I still haven't received a request for a review, or I haven't heard from you to ask how we did. If you have that really good rapport with your customers and you're producing for them, they're more than happy to refer you, which is why people reach out to me for plumbers and electricians and HVAC and everything else, because I have those people that I have worked with in the past, and I will literally refer them at any given moment.
So you have to, let's say you're looking online only first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to basically choose a platform or a tool or some sort of organizing online product to do that. How do you go about that?
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is after somebody buys, how do we get them to refer us?
Yes.
And there are two ways. We can look at it in the online world, but we can also look at it on the offline world, right? The world that we live in. And from a digital standpoint, we have a variety of lines of communication. We've talked about email that we'll send to our customers. On every email that you send, there should be a referral section in that email that they can refer it over to their customer or to their friends. Here, let me go back a little bit. So a few years ago, I was working for a company, and we were working with Land's End, and a lot of people know who Land's End is. They were doing a back to school promotion, and we had this social share widget that we had embedded in it was in Facebook at that point. And so we knew that if one of their followers clicked on this and shared it with others, it would go out to those people and we could track it back with the order value, right? So think of it in terms of if I gave you an ad and I said, Jim, can you send this out to your 100 customers? You send it out to your 100 customers, and then they had the opportunity to send it on to 100 of their customers and so forth, right? So it was this kind of social moment going out. We could actually track the dollar value back to you on not only what you did, but your 100 customers and then their 100 customers. We could drive it all back, and we knew the value of what you were doing as an influencer to the people that you knew. Simple referrals. It was nothing more than that. It was followers that were then referring their friends to an offer that we put out there, and then it was driving traffic back. And I forget the exact numbers, but it was astronomical, the numbers that were coming back from something like that. So when we look online, there are plenty of tools out there that will help you in generating referrals. So if you send an email, let's say you send an email once a month or once a week to your customer base, and you sign it off, thanks, Matt Hansen. Below that, put a little link to refer a friend, right? Those types of things can definitely start to drive traffic. There are definitely programs out there that will allow you to do this, that you can set it up and, it uses their platform. So there's really not a whole lot for you don't have to be a coder or anything like that, but go out there and find some of these tools that allow you to send these referrals and let your customers go out there and refer you. Now, the other side of that is if you start to reward your customers, right, your best customers, and we'll get into this a little bit, but if you start to reward them with value, they're going to start sending more and more things out there. When you pull it offline, keep it really simple, right? Give them, if you've got, let's say we have Mary, who's our best customer. She praises us. She tells everyone she knows. Go out there and give Mary 250 business cards with some kind of offer on it and say, Mary, for every one of these that we get back, we're going to give you X number of points or dollars toward a next purchase, right? Let Mary go out there and just push your company like crazy.
So what do you mean by referral rate? What are the rates?
Yeah, so average referral rates are roughly around 2 to 5%. And I don't want to get into math because obviously podcasts, it's a little difficult to talk math. But think of it in terms of for every customer that refers 20 people, or every 20 people that your customer refers, you'll typically get one customer back, right? And that's on the low end. That is general business as a whole. We're not talking about small, intimate, small town kind of local, everybody knows everybody. We're talking grand scheme, huge, 380 million people in the United States kind of thing. So if you have a very small, as we call it, a farm, realize that those rates can actually go up substantially. So I'm just giving you averages across the general industry. But from a small town mentality, if there's 5,000 people, 10,000 people, or maybe you have a really tight-knit group of customers, that actually will go up drastically. And like I said, you've got digital ways to do it, but you also have something as simple as just a business card with some kind of graphic you put on it with an offer and a code. Every time those codes come back in, you just register it as Mary, and Mary now has sent you 50 new customers.
So when you say referral rate, are you saying 2 to 5% of those who are referred will go through the whole funnel? And just to remind everybody, the funnel is at the top is awareness. You got to create awareness, and for that, if you're in the Calumet region, you call me. And then you get the next stage, which is consideration, kind of a little bit further down the funnel. So. And then he calls it a customer. I call it the close. So you go awareness, consideration, customer. And that's the 3 levels. And that is what we basically put out for this podcast. Let's go further on. Now you got to create an ask. Yep. And you got to start asking people for things. What form does that take for you?
Well, it's funny you ask me, but when if we were asking the people that are listening out there today, most of them don't have the ask. They've never created anything. They just assume, oh, well, if people like us, they'll actually go out there and refer. Create it for them. Create an opportunity for them to share with you. So when you have your best customers, talk to them and say, hey, I'm looking for additional business. We want to grow. This is my lifeblood. This is my business. I do this all the time. So I have these conversations in regard to the things that I'm involved in, and I say, here's what I want to do. Here's where I want to go. Here's who I want to meet. And I throw that out to a lot of people as well. I threw it out yesterday. I said, I think there's something like 1,700 people on LinkedIn that I'm connected to. And I was talking to these individuals that are just starting out in their careers, and I said, if there's anyone you want to meet, let me know. And it's funny, you can throw that out there, and basically what I'm saying is I'm going to refer you over to somebody, but you know how many people actually take me up on that? Very little, if any, ever reach out to me and say, hey, I would love to meet X. Great. Let me make a quick connection for you. I've said that probably hundreds of times in the last 5 years, and it's happened maybe 3 times.
So you have to you have these solid customers, and you have to ask them specifically what. So your best customers are your best customers for a reason. They like what you're doing. You have provided them some value in some way, some capacity. So ask them. You're already having conversations with them. You already know their first names. You see them often. Ask them, hey, here's what we're looking to do. Right now we're comfortable in where the business is, but I want to grow this business to whatever.
how can you help me? I would love to provide some value back to you if you could help me grow this business, right? So if you're talking, and I keep going back to Mary because I think personas help identify what we're talking about. But let's go back to Mary and say, hey, Mary, we're doing really well, but I want to grow business by 20% next year. How would I, your friends and family, people that you know, is there anybody out there that you think would really benefit from buying from us, using us, service, product, whatever it may be? And she'll start to have those conversations back and say, yeah, my cousin, my friend, I know this other company over here that would be a great partner for you. It's the conversation that starts to generate where it's going to go. So if you don't start to have these conversations with Mary, Mary's never going to know where you want to be. So you have to lay that out and say, we want to grow by 20%. We want to do things better, but we want you to be part of this. And Mary's going to be excited about that, right? So as you start to get Mary going and you start to get all these other customers helping you out, give them the recognition that they deserve. Give them shout outs, right? Celebrate them in some capacity. Make them part. I know we've talked about Google, the Google Business Profile. Basically, put them in the images. Put them on your Instagram page, right? Like, let's celebrate. They are part of your family, part of your club. Bring them in. So then they feel part of it, and then they want to go and push it more because now they feel like they're part of something bigger.
So this comes to the fifth step of this, and this is one that if you decide to go into get an MBA anywhere near here and you wind up in Matt Hansen's digital marketing classes, which I did, it's all about launching it. You're not in the game till you're in the game, right? You don't have any, but you have to test it. And the A/B test is usually his go-to test, but how do you specifically ask people to test their referral program?
Well, the first thing is you got to build one, and then you have to launch it, right? So most people will say, I don't have the time. I mean, you said earlier you don't have time for a lot of things, but you have to launch it. You have to plan it. You have to launch it, and then you have to monitor it. And I think most people, they just somewhere down the line, okay, I'm going to get to that, and I'm going to get to that. And that becomes the 50th thing on the pile of stuff that you need to do. And instead of launching and starting to track it, it gets lost. Go through with it, right? These are your cheapest and best ways to drive traffic to your company. If you're paying more attention to your Instagram profile than you are your best customers, there is a definite problem. So launch it, test it, track it, right? And then identify who is your connector. So a couple podcasts back, we talked about how you're really connected by 4 to 6 individuals to most people that you know, right? So if you look back and you say, okay, well, my best friend connected me to these people that we hang out with. So they're a connector. Maybe it's somebody at work that has introduced you to a bunch of other people, right? There are all these people that we are connected to that are, we call them connections to much bigger groups. So if you're tracking this and you realize that you sent this out, that you have 20 people working for you in the referral space, but really 5 of them are the ones that are taking it and running with it, take those 5 and either just focus on those 5 or make it so those 5 have a better award, so to speak, to push more people toward you, right? So if Mary, let's go back to Mary, if Mary's sending you 50 people every single year and Mark is sending you 1, let's focus on Mary.
Once again, if you happen to be catching this live on AM 1230, WJOB, or 1047, or on JED TV, on Amazon, Apple, Roku, whatever, it's just we're doing it live just because we're doing it on a different day. But to draw all this together, and I will summarize the 5 steps. First, you got to map a journey. Then you got to choose a referral tool. And then you got to actually create what you're going to ask for everybody involved. And then you got to recognize and reward possibly the ones that are participating in the referral program. And then ultimately, you got to do the Matt Hansen famous A/B tests, or at least launch it and then test it. And then the last word there is maintain it and monitor it. So give us some examples of people who did this.
Yeah, I mean, you can give like bring a friend offers, right? So let's go back to our persona Mary that we've talked about. So if Mary is, she comes in once a month. Maybe we have a salon, a hair salon or something like that, right? And she comes in every so often to get coloring or whatever. Maybe you give Mary a $10 off coupon if she brings somebody with her the next time. So both of them get the $10 off, but Mary, if she brings somebody in, she gets that discount. Maybe a home cleaner, and I know there's some of you listening that clean homes. Maybe you write a nice little thank you note, and then you provide some kind of referral coupons with that they can then refer to their friends, which gives them discounts or a free cleaning or whatever down the line, right? So if going back to our persona with Mary, if Mary refers 5 people for house cleaning, then Mary gets a free clean. Okay, great. So by the end of the year, maybe Mary's getting her house cleaned for free through the entire year because she just keeps referring people. That's the best situation.
He's Matt Hansen. This is Mastering Local Marketing. It's a podcast. Like it wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thank you.
Until next time, see you later.